Havenites, it is Thursday night. That means it is time for Shop Talk, which means we're going to be talking comics, we're going to be talking movies, we're going to be talking shows, we're going to be talking, I don't know, the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, the biggest event in North Alabama. And if you don't believe me, then come down and see it for yourself because you'll discover very quickly that you're wrong. And I just live to tell people that they're wrong. So ponder what you did wrong while I play the intro video. I hope you thought about what you did. I really do, because I wouldn't want to be disappointed in you. Speaking of people I'm disappointed in, here's my co-host, Alan Breedlove. What's happening, Alan?
I try not to disappoint. The problem is people expect me to go right and I go left. I mean, we end up with the same results, just not the way that y'all wanted them.
So what you're saying is when you come to a fork in the road, you take it?
Yeah. Yep, I just take it. Just whichever way. It doesn't matter to me. I got to be honest with you. I'm really looking forward to our guest tonight. He's fun to talk to.
Me too. He's fun to talk to. There's all kind of cool stuff going on. And he just told us he brought giveaways.
Yeah, we're going to do a giveaway tonight.
This is a pretty big giveaway. These are awesome.
I know that a lot of y'all, the vast majority of y'all tune in for 2 hours just to hear my ridiculous dad joke of the night. And I really struggled with one. I really could not come up with a good one. And then
Have you ever come up with a good one?
Well, yeah, I've come up with a couple of good ones. I really wanted to crack a joke on the spy balloon from last week, but I'm afraid it'll just go over everybody's head.
Yeah, I thought you'd be afraid you'd get shot down.
Yeah, well, that too. It goes both ways.
It does.
Now Jeremy's sitting backstage going, man, I knew I should not have done this tonight.
He's a dad. He appreciates the dad jokes. Y'all, for anybody who doesn't already know, our guest tonight is the one, the only Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo man himself, Mr. Jeremy Long. What's happening, man?
So, do you guys hear about the bad rainbow?
There's a bad rainbow?
The bad rainbow?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it committed several crimes and it had to go to prison. It's all right, though. It's all right.
Did you orchestrate that beforehand?
No.
I've got these on ready.
I was trying to get to this one for when you introduced him, but you introduced him too fast.
Y'all, Alan has been playing with the behind the scenes stuff on the show, so I don't even know, because he discovers things that I had no idea about. Lord only knows. So have you discovered any other new things that I should be aware of?
No, but I did see something today. I think I saw it on the Pop Culture Expo's Instagram story about going to vote about the number one. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm trying to find out now.
I already voted, yo.
Yeah.
Is this one of those deals you can vote every day, or is it just once?
I mean, I voted multiple times already, so I voted on my phone, on my computer. I don't know. I've had some people say that, they went to do it again, and it was like your vote's already been tallied. So I don't know. But we were nominated for the Downtown Huntsville Event of the Year for 2022. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool to get the recognition. Yeah, type all that into your browser, one digit at a time.
Yeah, just copy and paste it.
Right. If you go to the Expo page, or my page, or pretty much, a lot of the connected pages, you can find the link, but it's being put on by Downtown Huntsville Inc. Voting goes through the 15th, which is next Wednesday. We'll find out. There's a thing on February 28th, so we'll find out.
And I will say this: there are 2 categories of events that you can vote in.
Right.
One category is special events, and the other category is new things to downtown Huntsville. And I'm glad there's 2 categories because that lets us vote for 2 of our favorite things. One of them being the Expo, and you should absolutely vote for the Expo. The other is the baking test, which if you haven't been, it's an awesome bakery. And when HR is not doing things at Haven, HR is doing things at the baking test. So just be aware of that.
Evening, Mr. Regan.
Jim. Yeah, that's
Thank
that
you
right
for
there. That's half of the, functionality of the expo. We were actually talking about him at dinner. A lot of people that don't know the inner workings of the expo and they just see what it is, they just assume there's this like board and multiple people and everything. But when it comes down to it, it's just me that makes all the decisions and everything. But I can't do anything without the team that I have. And Jim is over all of the volunteers. Like, he puts everything out there. He creates the shifts and everything. And I make it a bigger task every year with what I need. And so, yeah, a lot of the success of the expo is on that guy right there. So
well, let's pop over to the chat real quick and see who all we got in the room so far. We got Tots popping in right out of the gate like he always does. Much appreciated. We got Blue Hellion all the way from Nebraska popping in. We got Bill Fisher saying hello. We got, and Bill Fisher notes that we managed to jump up over that 200 subscriber count as of last week. Help keep it going, guys. We made some promises if we hit certain numbers, so I don't have to go back and watch last week's episode. What did we promise people?
So if we can get to 500 subscribers by
on our YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, on the YouTube channel. This only applies to YouTube. If we can get to 500 subscribers by Labor Day, Josh and I will eat a Terry's Pizza live on the air. I know y'all are dying to see that. Josh and I are dying to do that. If we hit 750 by 4th of July, Tom Price will draw one Mr. Josh Olive as the shirtless bear fighter.
I just don't want to have to stand there shirtless so that he has the reference model that he needs.
Draw me like your pretty French girls. And if we can hit 1,000 by Christmas, and we've stretched this one all the way out to Christmas, so there's no reason why y'all cannot get us to 1,000 by Christmas. Josh and I will go rent the blow-up sumo suits, and we will sumo wrestle in the parking lot at Haven.
And everyone wants to see that.
So,
yeah.
I'm seriously thinking that we're going to have to make Nick Ellis film it.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly.
For sure, because he can do all the slow-mo effects and all that stuff and really turn it into something special. It'll be special, but I meant something fun to watch. Next up, we got Blue Hellion watching me on the 55-inch TV, and I look more dapper on a big screen. You know what? I'll take that, and thank you.
All the gray shows up a lot more on a bigger screen. So.
Well, I also just got my hair cut, and whenever you get your hair cut, it's like, all that gray was lurking underneath.
Oh, see, mine, when my beard gets full, it gets all gray. So when I trim it down, I gain I lose about 10 years. I finally look.
Yes, Mike, it is Thursday night again. Check your calendar. Yes, Tots, I am aware of the Yogi quote and what it meant, but it wasn't as applicable that way in this instance, so I rearranged it for our use. Alan does push the buttons. That's a true statement.
I push a lot of buttons. Just ask my wife. But you know what? Somebody that you could ask right now, Jim Regan's in the chat. Ask him. He's seen me push buttons at work too.
Blue Hellion, you are correct. The Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, there is a difference, just so you know, is where you want to be. The Huntsville Comic Con is a whole different thing, and it's not necessary to be there. I'm sure it's fine, but we're not there. Now, Zach Todd says he wishes there were going to be some killer people at the Expo this year, and I think his wish is granted.
Hooray!
I mean, that's. I mean, you can tell me better than anybody, but I'm pretty sure that his wish is granted. Now, Tots, you also said. Let me scroll back up here. Wow, we got a lot of comments here. What about the 3rd annual Hot Chip Challenge? Yeah, well, that doesn't happen downtown. That happens at Haven. So it wasn't eligible because of location.
They're a bunch of uptown girls.
Uptown girls eating hot chips because it burns their mouths. Yep. Yeah, them spicy boys for life. There you go. There you go. Film Age Studios, what's happening, Chris? Good to see you, sir. Destry, what's happening, man?
Woo!
Yeah, Jeremy could probably be the ring announcer at our at our event there. If we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark and we have to do that, I'm sure Jeremy would be amused.
Yeah, and you need to do have Nick film it, sure enough, and then do like voiceover, like a bad old kung fu movie. So,
yeah. And look, 1,000.
You have destroyed your family and taken your honor.
I mean, 1,000 subscribers. I mean, we need 8. Well, actually, 798 by Christmas. If y'all go to Haven's Facebook page, all you got to do is copy and paste or share the post that he did. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely, as long as Josh does not eat a McRib beforehand, I think we'll all be good. We'll.
Well, that's why they're canceling McRibs.
Yeah, that's why they're canceling.
That's why they're doing away with it. They discovered that it could be used as a weapon of mass destruction.
So since we've kind of said hi to everybody, I do got a question for one Mr. Jeremy Long.
What's up?
So for the people that don't know what all goes into putting on the expo, I mean, when do you start planning next year's expo?
Last year.
What's the process like, and where are you at like right now in the process?
So I tell everybody, and I'll dig deeper into this. I like to use the analogy of getting married.
I'm sure your wife appreciates that.
We're all married. So it's about a year out, you secure a date, venue, and then you don't do much for about 6 months. And then you start kind of thinking guest list, guest list, flowers, this, that, and the other. You do a little bit of work. And then about 3 months out, you have to pull everything together. You're meeting, you're doing stuff almost daily, sending out invitations, getting RSVPs, having people cancel on you last minute, all that stuff. The last 3 months is crazy. And then the big day finally arrives and everyone gets to enjoy it except for you because you're being pulled in 1,000 directions and you also don't get to eat. Now that
does sound right.
Okay.
I mean, just tell people how many steps you walked on average.
I do between,
or how many miles, whatever.
Yeah, well, I do between 40 and 50,000 steps a day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Thursday, with load in, I'll do about 30,000, and about every 2,000 steps is a mile. So I do between 20 and 25 miles a day. I'm hoping to hit a marathon one of the days this year. So
hoping to hit. I would think you would try to avoid it, but
well, I mean, it's like, I've done 25 miles in a day, so it's like I'm very close. I've never done a marathon, so
what's 1.2 more, right?
Exactly. And so but yeah, it's we went to Disney fall of 21. We went to Orlando and we did 6 parks in 5 days. I do more steps in 3 days at the expo than I did 5 days at 6 parks. So
That's insane.
It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know.
You could get you a good Flash cosplay and just zip around.
Well, and what's funny is if you see me at the expo, I don't wear anything expo related. Yeah. So that Chris is referring to 2.5 weeks before the expo last year. I was in Alaska on work, and I slipped on the ice and broke a rib. And I slipped on the ice because I was texting Lou Ferrigno and not paying attention. And I told him that, and he called me every day for about a week, checking on me. And I told him it was his fault. I broke my rib, and he accepted it. And in fact, when Emily brought the boys out on Saturday, because they didn't get a chance to meet back in 19 when he was here, he was like, "Hi, I'm Lou. I'm the reason your husband broke his rib." She goes, "Oh, I know." And so the fact, I mean, that's he just offered that up. Super cool guy. Our lives are so weird.
That's awesome.
But at least you can say that you've actually had the Hulk break your rib.
Yeah. Well, and so to answer your question more, Alan, I start planning for the next show before this show. So like I already have dates for 24, and I already have a few guests for 24. And so there's not so much a formula. I mean, it's funny because I don't have like a checklist, like, okay, it's 90 days out, I got to do this. But I guess, I mean, we're going into year 8. So, and
the show has this nasty habit where it keeps getting bigger.
It does.
It just keeps getting bigger. It's like it comes to a point where you're like, how much bigger can it get? I mean, you're going to have the entire VBC before long.
Yeah, I know, which is just a huge gym, and the
I hope they just throw in the East Hall for free. That's
yeah. Well, and I tried to get the concert hall this year. When I signed Shatner, I tried to get the concert hall for his panel. Yeah. But
maybe you could get the arena.
It's the concert hall is booked. Now, if I mean, to get the arena, I'd have to pay for them to erect a stage and everything, and because that's the other thing.
Just put him on the ice; he'll be fine.
Everything you see at the expo, I have paid for. Like, I mean, every chair, every table, every tablecloth, everything. It's not cheap. And so that's why, and with this year, I mean, it's insane, the lineup we have. That's an understatement. And another thing is I don't ever plan like, all right, I'm going to go after these guests. I mean, there are some of that, but then when I reach out to an agent and say, hey, do you still represent blank? And they're like, yeah, plus all these people. And I'm like, oh, those are good people too. Let's bring them. In fact, I think, Josh, you know this story, but we signed Shatner by accident this year.
How do you accidentally sign Shatner? People are going to love this.
Yeah. So I reached out to an agent that I was tried to work with pre-COVID in getting Jonathan Frakes. We were supposed to get Jonathan Frakes and LeVar Burton back in 19, and it kind of fizzled out. And so I reached out to that agent back in the summer, and I said, hey, do you still represent Jonathan Frakes? And he got back to me really quick. He was like, yeah, and I've got most of the Next Generation cast. Have you ever thought about getting William Shatner? And I said, well, I'd love to, but I think that's out of our league. And he said, here are his requirements. And I said, that's terrifyingly doable. I think we can do it. And
right
so
on the bitter edge of ha ha ha, no way can I do that.
right.
And maybe.
Yeah. Well, so I always thought his requirements were here. Okay. And then they were here, but it was for a day and a half. So part of Friday and all day Saturday. Well, every guest, they do 80% of their numbers on Saturday anyways. So as long as he's here all day Saturday, it's fine. So I was like, and this was in July. Exactly.
That's right, Tots.
But this was in July, and he was already announced for Dragon Con, and I knew a bunch of people from here going to Dragon Con specifically to see Shatner. And so I told the agent, look, if we're going to do this, I need a fully executed contract within a week. And he said, all right, I'll get it. And he got it. And so, so we
these
announced
contracts, is that really just your way of getting the signature of all these famous people?
Yeah, that's my way of not having to pay for autographs.
Smart.
But so we were able to announce them plenty in advance of Dragon Con, and so to help his numbers here, because Dragon Con is bonkers, and we're going to be a little bonkers this year, I'm sure. But yeah, so we got him, and then the next generation people as well. And so funny enough, I was after Jonathan Frakes. He wasn't available for our weekend, but that'll be a down the road thing. But it's just funny because we've never had a Star Trek guest actually here. Of course, in 20 we were supposed to have Marina Sirtis and Gates McFadden, but then 20 happened, and every year we have people. What about Star Trek guests? What about Star Trek guests? And so
it ain't for lack of trying, people.
Right. And so now it's kind of like are we good? Like we have Star Trek people now, and there's some good ones. So
yeah, you're starting at the top of the ice cream heap there. You ain't nowhere to go with it from Shatner. Well, I want to point something out. Carly Trowbridge popped on here, and she will kill me for doing this, but she is going to have a table in Artist Alley at the Expo this year, and you are absolutely doing yourself no favors if you don't go by her booth and pick up some art, because she is phenomenal.
It's true.
So you mentioned something a second ago, and for people that don't know what you're talking about, can you kind of explain what someone's requirements are for them to, do the contract, come to the Expo and everything?
Sure. So there's basically, yes, and the Falcon runs around saying procrastinate. So every guest requires, flight in, hotel, per diem, all that good stuff. And then their pay structures, there's two different ways. It's either like a straight fee, which most of your comic guests are on a straight fee. I pay them X amount to come. The media guests, for the most part, and like Eastman last year, they come on a guarantee. So basically I say, I guarantee you'll make X amount. If they make that, I don't have to pay them anything. If they make under that, I have to pay the difference. So, yes, please come out and buy autographs. We went on a long streak from year 3 to year 6 without paying any guarantees out, and then last year we had a handful. But it's like they say, mo money, mo problems, mo guests, mo problems, mo chances to miss. So, and funny enough, it wasn't any of the big ones either. It was a lot of the smaller ones, or a handful of the smaller ones that didn't hit, which is fine. The fact that we went 4 years straight without paying out a guarantee, that is not normal at all.
No, that's crazy. That's just not. That's not unheard of, but it's close.
Right.
So one of the things you do every year with the expo, I mean, you've kind of got it down pat as to how you got it all organized and where everybody goes and the layout of the floor and all that stuff. But you do make some changes year to year. Are you making any big changes in the layout from when you walk in the doors this year as opposed to previous years?
No. There's going to be more stuff going on in the fan area out front.
Okay.
More stuff to see there. We're not, I mean, last year, you know, we had the DeLorean, which was really cool with Leah Thompson being here. We don't have a vehicle this year of any sorts. But we're going to have a little more, no, he didn't. But funny enough, Roy Thomas, for his lunch, he wants a pizza from Domino's with pepperoni and jalapenos. That's his requirements. And I'm like, yeah, I can get behind that.
So what time will we
Shatner did require that you book his hotel through Priceline, though. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. And yeah. But no, there's no big changes. There'll be some more guests on that back wall over towards the guests. Now there will be some line control that will be a little different because we have, you know, so many guests that their lines will get bonkers quick that we're going to, like, I mean, Shatner will be at the very back.
That back far corner where you can run things just along the wall.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of people, and since he's only here Friday, Saturday, we'll see. But
I'll tell you what, you could put him right next to my booth if you want. I mean, I'll make room. You can put him in my booth. I'll make room there. Okay. That'd save a lot of space.
You know, Josh, I understand where its heart's at, but if we're going to go that level, I would rather you put Anna J next to Josh's booth.
And Jungle Boy right next to who?
That's fine.
Yeah. So,
this is a really good point, guys. If you've ever wanted to work at a show, you won't find a better one than this. And there are opportunities for people to do all kinds of jobs.
Yeah, there's no requirements as far as skill level. We've got, you know, I've had people, we had a volunteer meeting a couple weeks ago, and I had people there that was like, I've never done anything like this. I'm like, you're perfect then. You know,
don't have to unlearn any bad habits.
That plus, I mean, there is stuff that we need, you know, some veteran, you know, show people for, but most of it we don't. It's just we need some bodies, not just anybody. And it's huge this year, and so the more people we have, the less chaos we'll have. You know, like I was talking about the line control, you know, it might be where she's right. He's a good helper too. You know, where the main line is right in front of their table, and then we queue up the rest of the line, you know, 30 yards away. So we need someone at the back of that line to be like, hey, I'm sorry, the line's over there. And then we need someone over there to be like, all right, you go, you know, whatever. So it's a lot of moving parts, but you know, one of the best things I hear from vendors, from special guests, and from, you know, patrons are, you know, like, this is one of the best run shows. I'm like, I still don't know what I'm doing. You know, they're like, everything was so smooth, everything was blah blah blah. And I'm just like, it's my team. I just put together the madness and they execute it. So it's a, you know, I hear that every year, especially from vendors. They enjoy the show, they do well, and a lot of the special guests, you know, the agents too. The agents love us because I just, you know, pay attention and do what people ask.
Well, the other thing I hear is from folks who go around, and I talk to some of the guests afterwards, typically the comic book guests. But one of the things they always point out is everybody at that show, people working it, guests attending it, everybody's friendly, everybody's cool. It's a great atmosphere. It's upbeat. It's fun. And so far, that's absolutely been the case at every one I've been to.
Yeah, I mean, all the guests enjoy it. The crazy thing last year on Sunday, thanks, Chris. Last year on Sunday, I was in the green room, and I try to check on as many people as I can, especially if I walk by and I see a vendor, I'm like, hey, how's everything going? Good, okay. And then I check on the guests and the agents and everything. Well, in the green room, it was Billy West, Rob Paulson, and Maurice LaMarche. So at a table is my childhood. And they were, finishing up lunch. I'm like, you guys need anything else? And they were like, no, we're good. And then Billy West was like, I just want to say thank you for inviting me out. Like I'm, giving money to a homeless man or something. Like he was super appreciative of being invited to a show. I'm like, well, you're Billy West. And then Rob Paulson and Maurice were both like, thank you so much for, having us out. And I was just like, no, thank you for coming. Your crazy lines, are necessary to, the execution of this thing. And so it's just to see their humbleness and, appreciativeness. Anyways, me talk goodly. It was cool. They enjoy being there. Ross Marquand last year, on Sunday, Eli, my 12-year-old, was following me around for about 2 hours or about an hour or so. He was like, hey, can I watch what you do? I'm like, no. He's like, why not? I said, you can't keep up with me. Like I'm all over. He's like, no, I'll be fine. And so I'm like, all right. Because I just zipped through the crowd. And so I was going.
Yes, you do.
I was going from one side to another. I'm very limber and agile for a big guy. And we were going. It was the thick crowd. And I just turned around and he's right on my tail. And I was like, all right. And we went back over to the green room. And Ross Marquand was there. I was like, Eli, in the What If series, he voiced Ultron and, other stuff. Thank you, Destry. And then I was like in Infinity War and
don't tell on yourself, Tots.
In Infinity War, he was Red Skull. And so Eli asked him, he was like, was that you or was that all CGI? Ross Marquand pulled out his phone and showed Eli pictures of him with like all the dots on and a camera where he did the actual, motion capture for the Red Skull, or I'm sorry, the Stonekeeper character. And seriously spent like 5 to 10 minutes just talking to Eli. And Eli was so, intrigued and interested with it. But I just thought that was one of my favorite. I actually just snapped a picture of Ross showing him something on his phone. So I'm like, this is such a cool thing. Like, here he is, Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame, just explaining things to he was still 11, or no, he just turned 12. So that was cool. It's just a lot of cool moments that makes it, really fun for me.
That's so awesome. And I mean, one year it was on his birthday, right?
Yeah, and he had the flu.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it was. So he was actually supposed to have. It was in 19. He was supposed to have a birthday party at the Expo, and he was sick. And so Jamie Phelps from Magic City Con was there and went to all the different guests and had them record happy birthday messages.
That sounds just like something Jamie would do. How awesome is that?
I know. And so, I mean, it was, Jim Cummings as Winnie the Pooh and Tigger telling him happy birthday, and a bunch of Power Rangers and Buck Rogers. That's why not.
So we did the Jim Cummings panel a couple of years ago, and my daughter loved every minute of that panel when he would jump back and forth with the voices.
Yeah.
And he's probably had one of the best moments I've ever seen on any panel anywhere. There was some girl in there, this was several years ago. There was some girl in there asked him if he could do the Tigger voice.
Mm-hmm.
And he popped up and he goes, well, I'm contractually obligated that I cannot do the Tigger voice unless I sing the song. And he just went right into the Tigger song and sang it. And I mean, you saw adults in that room.
Oh, yeah.
Like little kids. I mean, it was great.
And
that's awesome.
It's such a cool thing, you know. I mean, where else can you go and, you know, meet your heroes? See you, Destry. You know, whether it's, you know, getting an autograph at their table or listening to their panel or just, you know, bumping into them on the way to the bathroom or hotel or whatever. You know, I ran into the Expo t-shirt. This year, it's just a simple logo t-shirt as per last year. You know, I ran into Erica.
I try not to run into them in the bathroom. They think that's weird.
Yeah, don't.
They're like, don't talk to me.
Yeah. But I ran into Eric Estrada like 3 times outside of the Expo last year. And
Nice.
I was like, stop following me. Super nice.
I gotta say, he was super cool.
Yeah.
He was really fun to talk to. My sister came out with my niece, and my niece is really introverted and shy, right? And but she wanted to meet Leah Thompson. And so I was taking her over there, but Leah Thompson had several people at her table, and Eric Estrada was sitting there, and the last person that was in his line was just walking away. So I waited for them to walk away, and I just went over to say hey to Eric Estrada, because when I grew up, that dude was on TBS at 11:05 every day, Monday through Friday, and I always wanted to be Ponch, and my older brother wanted to be John, so it worked out because my older brother was boring. But I introduced my sister, and she said something about ballroom dance because she's a ballroom dance instructor and stuff. And he's like, oh, man, I did Dancing with the Stars in Mexico. And they just talked for 10 minutes about ballroom dance.
Yeah.
Like, totally unexpected, but really cool.
That's funny. The lady that we had as his handler, she said that there were times that they were just, you know, they didn't have anybody in line, and he would check his security cameras from inside his house. And so he was basically like giving her a tour of his house, like through his phone. And he was like, oh, look, that's my wife in the kitchen. Should we say something? And she was like, no. And then he was like, hey.
That's awesome. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's fun, you know, because they are just, you know, all the special guests, they are always appreciative of being here. When I met Leah Thompson last year, she curtsied in front of me, and I was like, hello, good day. I didn't know how to respond to that. But she was super fun. I mean, she was just adorable,
wasn't she?
Yeah, she's like,
she was just a sweetheart. She's a tiny little thing, and she was a sweetheart.
She spent lots of time talking to the boys when we were in her line too.
So when you first had the idea to do the Pop Culture Expo all those many years ago,
yep,
did you ever imagine that it would get to what it is now?
No, not at all. So funny enough, the first year, you know, so many years ago, it was in the JC's building.
That was what, 2015?
16. It was at the JC's building, and we had no special guests. The room that the guy showed me that would have been a great panel room, come to find out, is locked, and we didn't have access to it. So our panels were outside. We just moved some chairs. It was a nice day in March. So our panels were outside. We had some food truck. That's my favorite memory from year one, is just going outside and looking, and there was just dozens, if not hundreds of people just like sitting on the grass eating food, because it was on March 18th or 19th.
It was right on spring break. I remember that.
Right. And it was, you know, a very nice, you know, like mid 60s kind of day. And so, yeah, it was. So, yes, but no. There was a guy that like he bought his own table. And so, yeah, or he was a late ad or something, but there was no, in the true sense of it, no guest. Like I didn't pay anybody or provide anything for anyone to be here. But I mean, the spots were super cheap. I think the artist tables were like $40 and the vendor booths were $75 or something like that. And I was doing deals on, you could get 3 vendor booths for $200 because I didn't know if I could fill up 11,000 square feet. And
you don't have that problem anymore.
No. In fact, I did deals on booths for the first 3 or 4 years because I wasn't sure if we'd fill it up.
Well, after year 1, you moved to the VBC North Hall.
Right. But in fact, I think it was 19 at closing ceremonies, you know, I always ask people, you know, how they enjoyed it, anything they would change. And then I always say, you know, what guests would you like to see here? And of course, they want to see all the big names. And so, yeah, you're right, Mike. So the in 19, so Pixel Perfect, who does our VIP badges, they do the Perler Beat art. Amy Costello, her dad was there for closing ceremonies. He's a big Star Trek fan. He said, "Do you think you can ever get William Shatner here?" I was like, "There's no way I will ever get William Shatner here." And I still, you know, I stand by that. Because, but no, I couldn't imagine it be anywhere like this. In fact, I never thought we would do special guests because I was like, what's the point of special guests? You know, as a comic vendor, I didn't see the value of special guests.
Oh, it gets people excited and brings people out.
Well, and even then, once we started doing guests and everything, I never thought I'd have voice actors.
True. I can
and
see
now
that.
We've got
the actors have been a blast.
I know. And so it's like, I've got to get out of my own comfort zone. And you know, that's why I have agents that help me, with guests. They're like, hey, this is a good guest, you know, whatever. And they know that if they pitch me a guest that is a, you know, dud, I'm not going to listen to them anymore. And so I've got good agents that I, you know, use every year. One of my agents, where I get a lot of my anime guests, he'll pitch me a guest by saying, this guest has 9 different Funko Pops. And I'm like, okay, that's a good guest. Obviously, they have enough main characters to warrant 9 different Funko Pops. So,
is this your recommendation for what would make the show better, Bill? Are you accusing that of Alan of drinking beer right now?
No, Alan's drinking a Sprite Zero. Well, I tell you what, I got excited because I suggested 2 guests to you in that message, and you're like, well, I could look into that.
Yeah.
Dude, I got excited over just the possibility of those 2,
right?
Those 2 people.
Well, and you know, it's honestly, as we've grown, I have agents. You know, I've always had agents approaching me, but I'll have guests approach me directly. You know, Chandler Riggs from Walking Dead. His mom is his agent and manager, and she contacted us. And it's because her parents or her parent and step parent, I don't remember if it's a dad and stepmom or mom and stepdad, I don't remember, but they live in Scottsboro. And then his other set of grandparents live like over in Decatur or something. And so he wanted to do this show so that like his grandparents could come see him. And so
That's
I was
awesome.
like, yes, we'll have Chandler Riggs. Plus, he's a super nice guy. I met him last year in Atlanta. So you know, it's cool how it happens. Whew.
It's a good
All right.
question.
That is a good question.
Can I say what my first tip would be?
Yes, please.
Bring cash.
Well, I
People
will
take cards. Most people take cards. Everybody's got that capability, but there are fees associated with that. There's all kind of things. Bring cash.
Right. And like some guests are cash only. Like Roy Thomas is a cash only guest. And we'll have other ones that'll be cash only. He's just the only one who's let me know so far. But now this year, something new, we will have ATMs inside the building. Like in the South Hall, not way over by the ticket window, which I'm curious if that ATM is even going to stay there because the VBC as an entity is going cashless. We will still take cash, but the VBC as a building is going cashless.
And second tip would be to bring snacks, because I don't care who you are, you will turn around at a con and you will be like, oh my God, I'm starving out of nowhere. And you'll look over toward wherever the pizza and pretzel line is, and they'll be like, half the con will be over there at the exact same time.
That's because you're doing it wrong. What you do is you go around to where Jeremy's mom has her booth, Nana's Sweet Treats.
Yeah.
And you just load up on those bad boys because holy Lord, they are delicious.
Well, see, thinking I need green room access, not because that's where the stars are going to be, but because I know that green rooms have snacks.
Well, then if you volunteer, my volunteer green room is stocked with snacks.
Well, I do know somebody that filled out for a media pass.
That's not a volunteer. It's not a volunteer at all.
He's doing an expose on green room snacks.
Yeah.
You gotta let him have access so he can write.
So one year, I think it was Chris Polk can chime in. I think it was 19, but our volunteer green room got vendors found out about it and started walking in and getting snacks, and no one stopped them. And then I was like, why are we out of snacks halfway through Saturday? I bought, enough for all weekend. And then I got complaints from vendors afterwards being like, well, I didn't know about the vendor snack room until after the show. I'm like, well, that's because there wasn't one. And so, yeah. So that was fun. So now, basically I have to have someone guarding that room at all times. But
there's
a couple of tips.
A volunteer job.
Yeah, really.
Guard the snacks.
I don't really charge a garden snacks.
Yeah. So some other tips for the show: wear comfortable shoes.
Oh my God, yes.
That floor is not forgiving. Yes, not only bring snacks, but bring water. Stay hydrated.
Go to panels periodically so you can sit down.
Do panels. Go to tabletop gaming. Try out a game. Look at the schedule. The schedule's not out yet, so don't try to go look at it now. But yeah, I know, right?
He doesn't skimp on snacks, y'all.
But
these ain't those cheap animal crackers.
No,
this is the good stuff with the pink icing.
It's because he's feeding all them vendors.
That's right. That's right. But pay attention to the photo op schedule, the panel schedule. It'll be posted a few weeks before the show. Plan extra time to do everything.
Yes.
Don't try to do everything on Saturday. Now, if you have a 1-day pass, you're limited to that 1 day. My recommendation is get a weekend pass. I'm not, if you want to do everything that you want to do, get a VIP pass. They're going to be sold out soon, though. But Emily, a few weeks ago, she asked me, she was like, are people going to get upset if they don't get to do everything in one day, if they don't get to meet everybody they want to meet in one day? And I said, that's like going to Disney for one day and not getting to ride every ride. You can't do it. You have to spend multiple days. The VIP gets you, yeah, exactly, Mike. The VIP gets you fast access to the guests, priority seating in the panel rooms, a bunch of other fun perks. But you can do everything. You can meet everyone with just a weekend pass. Saturday is the bonkers day. That's the day everybody wants to come.
Sunday, Chris Sabat, who had that 4 or 5 hour line that one year, just
right. Well, and that was because he was there Saturday only. That was when we were just 2 days, and he was there just Saturday. All of our guests are there at least 2 days. Most everybody's there all 3 days. But there are some, like Shatner's only there part of Friday and all day Saturday. Ashley Eckstein and a bunch of the other the Star Wars trio, they're there Saturday and Sunday. So Sunday morning is your go-to. We open at 11. It's never that crazy at 11. So if you miss anything, come first thing Sunday. But Saturday morning, there will be a line starting at like 7 a.m. to get in. And then one of my favorite things every year, and Nick always captures this in our videos, when we open the doors on Saturday. Now, Friday when we open, there's a good rush, but Saturday morning when we open, I mean, it's like Black Friday. Just a whoosh of people coming in. And, he'll bring out his big crane camera and catch everything. That's a good looking website.
Let's say we pause real quick, and you had something you want to do, Alan, but we need to do one of our giveaways. We've got a couple of giveaways tonight, y'all.
Yes. So what a lot of people don't realize is everybody that has been making a comment, I have been adding y'all to the spinny wheel.
What?
So if you haven't made a comment yet and you want to be put in for one of our giveaways, you best hurry up.
Yes, you best.
Let us know you're there. Oh, there's Matt Posey popping in now. There you go. Yeah.
And for you people that are watching on Facebook, if at some point y'all can jump over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button, we'd greatly appreciate that.
We would indeed.
Now, let me take this back off the screen. As far as what we're giving away, I have no idea what we're giving away. Y'all will have to ask Mr. Long about that.
Let's start with the lower grade first, Jeremy.
I'm doing it as a set.
Oh, we're doing it as a set.
Oh, we're doing it as a set.
Yeah. So last year we had a feller by the name of Kevin Eastman come, and we did this wonderful cover of a Turtles book, and we did a full trade dress and then a Virgin cover. And it's awesome because it's the Turtles at Space Camp. It looks like this. That's the Virgin cover. And that is the trade dress cover. And so these both, we just got them in today because, it's been 10 months since the Expo. So CBCS is not the quickest. But I thought, let's give away a set of this Turtles 127. Fun fact, it is the first appearance of Venus, the turtle, in comics. So we got you a set. The Virgin cover is a 9.0, and this one's a 9.2, but these are the best looking 9.0s and 9.2s. I think they just have a quota for, not perfect grades. But yeah.
One important thing to note, you had that cover specifically drawn for the Expo to represent Huntsville, and Kevin Eastman drew the cover and he signed it.
Yes.
and show them the back.
Couple of my favorite logos.
Look at that. Look at that. You also get the Expo logo, so you know that was an Expo exclusive, and you get the Haven logo as a bonus because Jeremy's just a cool guy.
And see, that's the back of the Virgin cover. That's why it has the trade dress on the top of that, and then that's just the back of the regular cover, regular with trade dress on the front, just that. So, too cool. Alan, you asked about things that I thought would never happen. I never thought I'd have an exclusive comic cover drawn by Kevin Eastman.
I got to show you what I got back last week, right? I got the same book.
Oh, well.
I wasn't done. This is
important. Sorry. Hang on. I'm taking it off. There we go.
I got the same book signed by Kevin Eastman. But I did something special. And I also got it signed by Jeremy Long.
What a great signature.
Myself. And so we got a yellow label that notes that it was signed by all three of us. So this is a unique, one-of-a-kind book right here.
I know. Stupid me didn't have that idea.
Not another one in the world.
That is pretty
Just
slick idea.
This one.
Well, maybe I'll take one of my sets and this year and get it cracked, and we can sign it, and then I'll just resubmit it.
See, I never could get in line in time to get him to sign mine. So I've got them at home. They're just not signed.
So how many of those are there in the world? How many were printed?
So there were 2,500 of the trade dress and 1,500 of the Virgin copies.
So a total of 4,000 copies of this cover exist.
Yes.
So word to the wise, snap those up, get those signed, get them graded, what have you, because there are not that many out there.
And if anybody wants a set, so I noticed shortly after the expo that sets were going on eBay for just stupid, and people were lying. People were like limited to 500, and all this, that, and the other, and they were putting them on sale for like $300 for a set of raw books, not signed or anything. So I wanted to put the kibosh on that quickly. So I because originally they were $20 for the Virgin copy and $10 for the trade dress, or $25 for the set. So I put them up on eBay. I just have a listing there for $29.99 for the set. So if you'd like a set of unsigned books, just do a search for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 127, and you'll find a listing for $29.99 plus shipping. And that's because I didn't want people to pay out the wazoo. I mean, a lot of times you go to shows and a trade dress copy of a book is, $20 or $25, and a Virgin copy is $50 or $80 or whatever. And I'm like, no, I didn't do this book to get it to, make a bajillion dollars. I did it because when am I going to have the opportunity to have Kevin Eastman draw something for me? And this is so Huntsville. I mean, if you go to the Davidson Center at the Space and Rocket Center, you can recreate this photo. I mean, he basically drew this from one of the photos of the Rocket Center that I sent him. This is spot on too. And the funny thing is, there's I don't know if you can see, yeah. So like right here, people jokingly said that that's me and Emily and like one of the boys.
I thought that was me and you and Nick Ellis.
That's why we're holding hands.
I'd hold your hand, man.
Here, take the camera. I'll be right back. I want to grab something.
Oh, dude, that's so much fun.
So I'm actually okay. I think I finally found it.
Okay.
Jeremy was just talking about this.
This was the reason I did this. I said, even if I lose money on this whole effort, how many people can say they have a published Kevin Eastman original cover hanging in their office. Yeah.
Yep. If that answers your question, Chris, he sure as heck did. Look at
That is the coolest thing. I mean, and I've got this, we got it framed and everything, but this was totally worth it. This to me is the coolest piece of collectible I have.
That's amazing.
I would sell the Fantastic Four #1 before I ever got rid of that. It's not for sale, but I would.
I was going to say, I was going to offer you like double the cover price for it.
Well, I'll tell you, that wasn't cheap to get done. It cost a lot of money to get these books done, between the cover and buying them and everything. But it worked out, and it's stuff like that it's just bonkers what our lives are. Josh helped me out with getting me in touch with the IDW people who were, I think they went to the same school of response from what the CBCS did.
As in, we'll get back to you one day. No, we won't. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you keep pestering me. Fine, I'll respond.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small miracle that book happened.
And came out on time. Actually, they had a publishing delay. It was supposed to be the issue before that one, but it got pushed because they had a publishing delay, and so it came out. And we got it on this issue, which had the first appearance of Venus in it. So it's a double whammy because you got the first appearance of a new character, and it was the Expo instead of just being a random issue where nothing of note happened other than the Expo cover.
Yeah, and that helped us do a lot of pre-sales. So that was a cool coincidence.
But I think I saw, was it Chris or Blue Hellion that you were thinking about ordering that? I absolutely strongly recommend it. It's a beautiful book. It's really cool. And you don't have to pay crazy prices to get it because Jeremy's selling it online at a reasonable price.
Yeah, and if you want a set of the graded signed copies, I do have extra sets. I haven't put those up yet because literally they came in the mail today. Yeah, it's true. But we'll get those up. Or if you just want to, if anybody wants a graded signed set, message the Expo page and we'll make it happen.
Take advantage of that, people. There aren't too many of these running around. We just told you there's only 4,000 copies in existence in the world.
Right.
Yeah, it's taking them a little bit, Chris. They're not moving fast. There you go. All right, so I interrupted you a second ago, Alan. You were about to pull something on the screen, and we were going to do a giveaway of that awesome set. Let's do it.
Okay, give it a second.
All right.
From that screen. Now I'm jumping back to it now. Sharing the screen. Let me make sure I got. So the whole thing about the giveaway was all you had to do was make a comment. So if you've made a comment, I have put you in the wheel. Anybody who has not made a comment, going once, going twice. Then let's spin the wheel and see what happens.
We call it. Let's see who wins this bad boy.
She's spinning.
All right. Amanda Hutchison.
Hooray! Woo!
All right. So what's the best way for Amanda to get those books? First of all, if you're local, I'm sure Jeremy can drop them off at Haven and you can pick them up there.
Yes.
Yep. Amanda, you still with us?
Is this a seance?
Yeah, really. Does
So
anybody know Amanda?
well, and we can find her and message her. I'll find it out. But I always so was at a meeting. So my real job is missile defense. A lot of people don't think I work; they think I just do this. But
we all anxiously await the day when that's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I work from home, so who cares? But anyways, so I had to go to an on-site meeting a few weeks ago, and there was, people from Alaska and everyone all over, and there was a, Teams meeting, and we were live, and anyways, and it's like a seance because everyone's gathered around the table, and they're like, "Can you hear me? Are you there?" And I'm like, "Do we need to hold hands and light a candle?" And then they're like, I mean, they all but said, "Give us a sign if you can hear us." It's just hilarious. Hilarious. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I'm excited for the Expo this year. I tell you, you always, because you come at it from a totally different place from everybody else, right? But are there any things this year about this year's Expo that you're particularly excited for?
For it to be over? No. I mean, the obvious is Shatner. I always liked Star Trek. I'm not one of these. I like Star Wars, so I can't like Star Trek. No, you can do both. But 4 years ago, at Pensacon, I got a photo op with him because I'm like, when am I going to get another opportunity to meet William Shatner? And now he's coming to my show. It's just stupid. But also the trio from Clone Wars, that's super cool. Ashley Eckstein is one of the nicest human beings you could ever meet. Double win. Go to Haven, get your tickets. All that is just, the different guests. It's awesome. But I do love the day after. And not
So
because
you call him TJ Hooker.
That's right. It's price line negotiator.
Now, this is all secretly. You got Bill Shatner here secretly so that you could get in good with him and get him to convince Heather Locklear to come next year. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. But the day after the show, and it's not because the show is over. It's usually like 2 days after the show. I drive out to Kids to Love, right next to Haven, and I hand them a check. This past year, I wrote them a check for $10,000.
Man, that's awesome.
And it felt good. Awesome. I'm a big fan of if you have a platform, you should use it for good. And we have done a charity auction and given money every year of the Expo, even in 20 when we had a Expo Light. We still wrote them a check. That year we lost money on the show, but we still raised money for them because they have such a good thing that they do. They for those that don't know, Kids to Love website, kidstolove.org. They are a local charity here in North Alabama that helps foster kids in every sense of the word. And so they just, they're great. I love their cause. And the cool thing is the money stays right here in North Alabama. So I love that. I love doing that. If you need a good cause, Kids to Love is it.
If you've never been to their facility, I strongly recommend going there and getting a tour.
Yes.
Because it's amazing the stuff that they do and the way that they take care, and they're thinking ahead. They've got stuff there that helps kids get jobs in computer programming, robotics, even down to like soldering and stuff like that. They teach kids how to do all these things that will help them get real good paying jobs. They have a store there that, and I say store, it's not the kind of store you would think.
No.
It's if you're say you're going to be a foster parent and you get a call like, okay, we have a kid. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Is it 9 months old or is it 12 years old? the needs are very different, right? So you're going to pick up a kid. Well, they're going to have this store of stuff that you can go through and get the things that you will need to take care
Yeah.
of the kid.
They posted yesterday or day before, and I made comment to Emily. I said, I love seeing these posts. I hate the reason these posts exist, but
Yeah.
basically a kid came into emergency foster care, and he was I don't remember if it was a 10 or 12-year-old boy, but he had nothing. And so the post was a picture of this table just full of clothes, a backpack, some Legos, toys, this, that, and the other, so that it could make his transition as easy and comfortable as possible. And they do backpacks with back to school. They do Christmas lists. I mean, they do a ton of stuff. They've got a new thing because foster kids, you have to leave the foster system when you're 18. They have this community called Davidson Farms, where it's for after foster care. It's a community of young women who are either in the workforce or they're going to college, and they, live there. They have jobs and stuff, but it's a way that they're not kicked out at 18, and said, good luck. So
yeah, I don't think many of us would do well if we were just told, hey, you just turned 18. Good luck. Go find a place to live and pay your bills.
Right.
And do all that. That's how you end up on the street.
Right.
No, this is a phenomenal organization. So if you are ever looking for a charity to support, Kids to Love is a great one.
Yeah. But, and outside of that, what I'm looking forward to are those moments that we can't plan. Like I was telling the story earlier of Eli talking to Ross Marquand, such a cool moment. Who knows what'll happen. I'll tell you what I don't look forward to are the last minute hiccups. Well, like today we had to announce that Chris Claremont's not coming. I don't want to air, but he has a wedding to go to. His health is, everyone's like, oh, I hope his health is fine. He has a wedding to go to. And so it's, but that stuff happens. The more guests you have, the more chances you have to lose one. So
seems to be especially prevalent with actors who like, hey, I got a part or I got a role.
Right.
Sorry, this is my livelihood. I got to go.
Right. Right. Them doing shows, yes, they get paid for their autographs and stuff, but this is their way of giving back. Hey, and Corbin's going to be there this year. He hasn't made it the last few years.
He doesn't have a wedding this time.
Last year, his brother got married on the Expo.
That was very, very that was not cool.
Yeah. Well, but he was able to come out and enjoy it with his family on Sunday. So that was cool. And a cool thing, too, about Corbin, he does our posters that we make prints and and we turn them into badges. So he came in, met Kevin Eastman, and Kevin Eastman is wearing Corbin's art around his neck. Who's like,
that's amazing.
I drew that. There she is.
Hey, if you're local, Amanda, I don't know if you are, but if you're local, Jeremy we'll get those books out to Haven sometime soon, and you can come pick them up there. Otherwise, we'll work it out with you to get them to you another way. But just let us know.
But yeah, I always like to. I love walking around, or just like standing over in the special guest area and seeing people react, meeting the special guests.
Can I tell you, last year, one of my favorite moments was watching Adassa interact with the little girl. Because that little girl walked up and that was absolutely
Dolores,
the person from the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was her. And that little girl just knew it. And that was it. So she comes out and she starts singing the songs with her and she crouches down so she's at the kid's level. That was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen. And I have no idea who that kid even was.
Nope.
but her interaction with that kid was beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
And she did that with everybody.
Oh yeah. Well, and she showed up. So Adassa
dressed like the character.
She was in cosplay as her character.
Yes.
So I mean, also last year we had Irene Bedard there, who was Pocahontas, but she's not in, Pocahontas get up. None of the. So I was going to say none of them, but what was his name? One of our voice actors last year, who was Uncle Eero. He's gonna. I can't remember his name, but anyways, he does photo ops and cosplays one of his characters. So yeah, but Adassa, she was in Dolores Get Up the whole time. I'll actually see her. She'll be at Pensacon in 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to seeing her again. But
she was just a beautiful human being. I really enjoyed talking to her, and she was really, really cool.
Yeah, very much so. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, those unexpecteds.
He gets guest suggestions all the time, as you might expect.
Yeah. People are, send a message to the Expo page. I try to, especially
he considers reasonable requests.
Right.
Like bring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman for a cage fight. That's not reasonable. No.
Well, but the thing is, now that we have Shatner coming, everyone thinks we're that next level. So, and it's cool. But it's just a lot of people ask me, how are you going to top this one? And I'm like, I don't know. But going into last year with Kevin Eastman and Leah Thompson and everybody, people said, how are you going to top this one? I said, I don't know. But life finds a way.
Is that a hint?
No, it's not. No, it is not. That's a quote, not a hint.
So we keep talking about the guests, and a lot of people have made comments on the guest lineup. So let's kind of scan down through these guests right quick.
Sure.
So
Ashley Eckstein is awesome. I'm super excited about seeing her.
So everybody knows that William Shatner's line is going to be insane.
Yep.
Anybody everybody should know, hey, if you're going to show up for William Shatner, you better show up early.
Yep.
Is there anybody else that you're expecting just their line to be just bonkers like that?
So Ashley and Bryce. Bryce is the top anime voice actor right now. Of all the popular animes, he's got a character in pretty much the only anime that he does not have a character in is Dragon Ball Z. But every new Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, all the big ones, Seven Deadly Sins, not only does he have a voice in those, he's a main character in all those. And then his little character on the far left of that picture, that's Cat Noir. That's from Miraculous Ladybug. That is huge with kids. And I think there's a comic version too, right, Josh?
There is.
Yes.
There used to be. It's not ongoing anymore, but yeah.
Okay. So in Miraculous Ladybug, there's Ladybug and there's Cat Noir, the two main characters. He's Cat Noir. Now, scroll down to Christina V. She's Ladybug. So we have two of the main characters. So, and then also, I'm sorry. So Amy Jo Johnson, she's going to have a bonkers line.
Yeah, she will.
Mark Paul Gosselaar, all the Star Trek people, these are all potential bonker lines. The guys from Clerks, I've had a ton of people, comment how excited they are that they're going to be here.
Oh, the second my daughter found out that the big three, well, pretty much the big three from Hocus Pocus was going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh, she was done. She was, I mean, getting her stuff together 3 months ago, getting it ready to get signed.
Yeah. So,
question, is everybody who stands in line for Barry Bostwick, are they expected to dress in drag or no?
I mean,
If-
or just tidy whities.
If I don't see him dance the time warp, I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed.
He didn't dance the time warp though. That's just it.
I know, but I've got to see him do it.
He was close to the time warp.
That's right.
It's
That's
He
right.
was close to it.
But Murr's going to have a good line. Now, if you've never met Joey Fatone, he is one of the
cool dude.
coolest dudes ever. I'm excited to have him back. He was here. He was actually the second guest I ever signed. David Yost was the first, and they're both coming back this year. We haven't updated the website this week, but we just announced David Yost. And see, Chris Claremont's still there, so we just announced him canceling today.
But I mean, hey, we're getting Chicago from Pitch Perfect 3, so does anybody else really need to show up?
I don't know what you're talking about, so
you know who Chicago from Pitch Perfect 3 is.
Did I see Pitch Perfect 3? No, don't get me wrong. I love Pitch Perfect. I love Anna Kendrick. She's fantastic. But yeah, if you keep going down, the comic people are more below. But we've got one of the largest Naruto lineups ever, and we have Mickey Mouse and Goofy coming.
That's freaking awesome. And Chip.
And Chip, yes. And funny enough, not only was he Chip, but he was a little boy from Jumanji. So really cool. And then our wrestling lineup with Mick Foley and Anna Jay and Jungle Boy and Danhausen. A lot of people are excited about Danhausen. He is such a popular wrestler right now in AEW because he just has that like kind of crazy spooky shtick going on. And he will be in makeup Saturday and Sunday. Well, he's only there Saturday and Sunday. He'll be in makeup the whole time. So
I have never seen him not in makeup.
Right.
I mean, I think that's just his thing. He's always in makeup. That's just right. Stick, like you said. So I guess the big one that I want to ask about is this empty slot here that says TBA.
Oh, there should be about 5 of those.
I mean, do we have one that's not been announced anywhere else that we can announce here tonight?
So, I mean, we do. I'll just tell you a few.
Let's do it.
So we've got local.
Be prepared to look these people up so we can show people pictures, Alan.
Okay.
So, the one that we're announcing tomorrow's Friday, right? Yeah. Tomorrow, we have Mark Spears coming, who is
That's a Huntsville native.
The Huntsville native Mark Spears. He is famous for monster pictures. And he actually has a couple of Spawn covers coming out.
We actually talked about this a few weeks ago, and I want to show it to people because this is really cool. This right here, this cover of King Spawn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see over here on the right-hand side of his, it's on the left-hand side. It's his right side as he's facing you. There's these little gouges cut in his neck. You see that?
Yep.
Right here. That is AH for Alex Humphrey, who used to work up at Haven before he died in a very untimely of a stroke. He and Alex and Mark used to work together at Comic Corner way back in the day.
Wow.
And so that's a tribute that he made to Alex Humphrey on this issue of King Spawn.
That's awesome.
So is this
Alex would both love it and be horrified.
Yeah, this is his stuff.
Yeah.
But he's got, there's another one of his Spawn covers that's coming out. But he has his own, and then there's, the Gunslinger one with the clown. That's just awesome. He has such a cool style. But
if
he's
you're not reading Gunslinger, you're missing out. Sorry.
He's got his own line of monster trading cards that he did all the artwork for it and everything.
And they are awesome.
Yeah, there's a pack of them right there. So that was all video. Oh, we get to watch an opening video.
Yeah, that was surprising for me too when it started moving. I'm like, wait, what?
The picture's alive. So
I'm assuming he'll have the cards at the expo.
Yes, I want to say he has a new series that just came out. I was talking to him yesterday, day before, and he's actually going to donate some stuff to our charity auction. That 100% of our charity auction goes to Kids to Love. So you can get some of these. He'll have some at his booth. Then you can also get some from the charity auction. So, but yeah, so that's one of them that we're going to announce. And another one that we're going to announce Saturday. And Saturday will kind of cap off our guest announcements. We're going to go out with a bang and have Superman himself, Dean Cain, coming to the Expo. Yeah, so that's super exciting because not only was he Superman in the Adventures of Lois and Clark, but then he was the dad on Supergirl. And I mean, obviously he's been in a bajillion other things, but super cool guy. Super excited for him to be here.
Please tell me he's bringing Terry Hatcher.
I was about to say, before you ask, no, Terry Hatcher isn't coming.
Stop He's so dreamy.
He is such a nice guy too.
I can't wait to be
here. Now, and that's it for announcements. I say that, but I've yet to go to. That is correct. It's awesome art. I've yet to go to a Pensacon and come back without a guest announcement, but it would have to be a huge guest because Pensacon's 2 weeks from tomorrow, and the Expo is about 8 weeks afterwards. And I mean, I'm out of space. So it would.
I told you can just put William Shatner in my booth, and that'll free you up some space.
Right on. So we'll see, but I mean, the lineup we have, I mean, it's bonkers, and so it's going to be.
Don't think I'm not working on trying to get a hold of Alex Ross, Mike.
Yeah, you get Alex Ross is my favorite artist, so you do whatever you have to bring him. So
I'm looking to see who all's going to be at Pensacon, and I mean, there's several that are going to be here that are going to be at Pensacon.
Yeah, and they use one of the agents that we use, their agencies. But I mean, the thing about Pensacon, it's 400 miles away and 2 months before ours, so there's not the crossover isn't there, and yeah,
I think he meant more room.
So there's no other place to go, Matt. There's only more of the VBC. There's the East Hall. There's the North Hall that's under renovation right now. There's the thoughts of expanding over there, keeping what we have and putting more stuff over in the other halls.
Now, let's talk, since we are a comic store and this is a comic-based show primarily, let's talk comic creators who are coming to the Expo, right?
Yep.
So we got Roy Thomas.
Yep.
If you've read comics at Marvel from the 70s and 80s, you should know the name Roy Thomas. Big name. We have Tom DeFalco, who wrote Amazing Spider-Man. He wrote Spider-Girl, Thor. He did all kinds of stuff. That's fantastic. Oh, I'm in the East Hall. I'm in the West Hall. Oh, that's funny. Yesterday and today you made a couple of announcements. One of which
is that like demons? Are we getting some spirit box session going? I mean, I'm hearing like
my 12-year-old's phone just made a noise, and that's what the first noise was, and then that was him shuffling over here to get it. So
I mean,
yes, demons.
I will literally just fly straight over right now with my Bible and holy water. We will take care of this.
Out, foul demon, out.
Be gone with ye.
But yesterday or today, you announced Nathan Zerdy.
Yep.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
and That dude has been doing some absolutely sick covers
Fire.
over
Yes.
at DC, and he is in the process of. He just got a contract. He's moving to do covers at Marvel.
But
Now I know a certain show owner who has liked this guy for a long time and who has been collecting his covers for a long time.
got a few.
So that's pretty awesome. But then today, you announced Ron Friends. Ron freaking Friends. Guys, if you don't know the name Ron Friends, he did one of my all-time favorite runs of Amazing Spider-Man. That Bring Your Amazing Spider-Man 238s with your Hobgoblin.
Did he do 238? I mean, I know he did 252.
Pretty sure he did 238 too.
Okay.
I may be wrong, but I think he did. I'll have to double check. He definitely did 252. And I associate him with Black Suit Spider-Man pretty heavily. He did some amazing stuff. The Hobgoblin stuff, the Hobgoblin reveal in 275, all that jazz. Ron Friends, incredible. He also did Thor. After the death of Superman, he did the Blue Superman Blue he did for a bit. Now he's working on the Blue Baron for Sit Comics binge books. The guy is an incredible artist, and he had worked with, and he did Spider-Girl with Tom DeFalco. So you can knock Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends. You can get them to double sign a whole lot of books. Bring out your comics and get them to sign those books.
Well, and you know, you mentioned a bunch of the major labels, DC and Marvel, but then we have but then we have
Brian Silverbacks.
Small press. Yeah, we have Brian Silverbacks coming, who he's got lots of his own titles and everything. We have Flatline Comics coming up from the Gulf Coast. They've got horror books and wrestling books. And then those are just the part of the guests that we have Liana Kangas coming. She's done some covers. She actually has a couple of Star Wars Adventures comics covers, I think. But you know, she's I'm trying to think who else. But then there's a lot of people who aren't guests, but they're, you know, they bought tables in Artist Alley to feature their stuff. And we've got, or not just, you know, artist tables, but we've got some of the artists that get one or two vendor booths because they've got huge setups. There's an artist that'll be there. His style is kind of similar to Nathan Zerdy, but Greg Krivac, Krivac, he'll have a big end cap, and he's got amazing art. So bring blank books, because you can get some amazing work. I get a blank cover every year from Brian Silverbacks and from Clint Hobart. That's another one. It's a Disney.
Dude, that Fing Fang Foom cover that Clint Hobart did.
Eli.
Clint Hobart, if y'all don't know, he's a fine art painter.
On my desk of Fin Fang Foom.
He's a fine artist painter. He's not your typical pencils and kind of comic book art at all. He does still life of things with like Doritos and stuff. He's amazing, fantastic Disney artist, but he did this cover, which
oh wow.
So
look at that. Look at that.
That's an oil painting.
On a comic book cover. Look at it. That's
nice.
Freaking beautiful. Ah, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so but that one, and then hang on, I want to get one more.
Awesome. I gotta say, he's not kidding when he says pick up blank comic book covers and get the artists and stuff to do things. As a matter of fact, pick up a blank Star Trek comic and get William Shatner to sign that, because you can have his signature, you can get it authenticated, and get the book graded, and it'll be in a slab protected. It's a great way to do that. And it so happens there's this comic book store called Haven Comics. Um, Haven Comics, and we order a crap ton of blank comic book covers specifically for things like this.
Yeah.
Jeremy a minute ago was talking about how some people have gotten vendors booths, just to show off their art and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the coolest things about last year. And I know, y'all were busy and all over the place last year, and I'm just kind of strolling around buying Legos with the kids. But it was really nice being able to walk through the vendor area, and then it was all of a sudden like, bam, out of nowhere, Deegan, I believe his last name is Parkour, something like that.
Punchkers, yeah.
Yeah, has this nice setup. And I mean, gorgeous art, just like literally out of nowhere. You wouldn't even expect it.
Yeah. And
that's really kind of cool when it's sprinkled out through the vendor area.
For sure. And, a lot of shows you go to, Artist Alley's over there, and all the vendors are over here, and all the special guests are over there. And so a lot of times people don't go down Artist Alley because, I don't buy art. But,
yeah, you are missing out.
Who doesn't want an awesome picture, 11 by 17 print of your favorite character? So we have everything all together. I don't want anyone to be missed on anything, which that if we move into East Hall and North Hall or whatever, that'll be tricky.
I wouldn't worry too much, Matt. I'm pretty sure they'll need your help.
But this is Brian Silverback's original, that because a lot of most blank covers are white, but now they're doing black, red, blue, so you use kind of the negative space.
Some will have splatters.
This is one he did for me.
The King in Black.
No. Yeah. On a Venom cover that is just ridiculous. The detail work on it is crazy.
I like some little splatters he did.
Yeah. Also 9/8. But yeah, I mean, so these are some of my favorite books, and I've got another one from him still at CBCS, and another Clint. These were done in 21. And so I've got some from this past year, but they're still at CBCS.
Did you get one from Mark Nelson last year?
I didn't, unfortunately. I hate that.
Did you see
Jay's?
That? Yes. That cover he did for Jay. Holy smokes. Mark Nelson was the artist on Dark Horse's Alien book back when the Alien first came out in the 80s. And dude is an incredible artist. I mean, just incredible. And he did the most rocking cover of Alien on a black Alien #1 cover. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was every square millimeter of that book was covered with lines.
I was so jealous when he brought that book back over to show me. I'm like, come on, why didn't I think of that?
Just gonna sit here and stare at myself. There we go. There's everybody. Okay, it was just me for too long.
Yeah, Brian is is an awesome guy too. Yeah, Brian's really, really good. And I tell you, if you look at the work that he's been doing, because he is prodigious on Facebook and such, he does some amazing work.
Oh yeah.
And he just pumps that stuff out, and he does commissions and things too. So if you want to get him to draw something for you in advance to bring to the show, and then sign it in front of CGC or whoever, you can do that too.
Yeah,
I think there was one year he had posted something on Instagram, and he had like prints of it for sale. I think it was a particular profile that he had done of Batman in the Rain. And I sent him a message. Yeah, I sent him a message on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, are you going to have copies of that at the Pop Culture Expo in a couple of weeks? Maybe 3 weeks out." And he literally sent back within a few minutes, "Well, I am now." And when I went by the booth, he literally had a copy sitting there waiting on me.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you could definitely like holler at him on Instagram or something and ask him to bring things that he, if he does have copies of it. Oh yeah, he'll bring them in a heartbeat. He's a great guy.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, I tell you, my favorite thing, and anybody, if you come to the expo and you want to see this, come by my booth, the Haven Comics booth, and I'll be happy to pull it out and show you guys. That sounded wrong. I'll be happy to take it out of the box and show y'all. But the first year that there were comic guests at the Expo, I stole a tablecloth from the VBC. I still don't feel bad about it because Mike Grell had signed it. And when I went and got it, he caught me going and getting it, and he came back and he was like, "Were you serious about taking this tablecloth?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm serious." And he's like, "Okay." And he grabbed a Sharpie and he drew a little profile picture of Green Arrow. And ever since, every comic book guest that comes to the Expo, I get them to sign that tablecloth or draw a sketch on it. So that thing has now got signatures and or sketches. It's got lots of drawings from Arthur Soydam, from Kevin Eastman, Rick Leonardi, you name it. There's all kinds. Every comic book guest that has been to the show has signed it or drawn something on it. And I still have miles of this thing to go. So I'm going to ask them to draw bigger.
Yeah.
But it's a stupid tablecloth, but it's the coolest thing in the world, and it makes me so happy.
So I know the other night I made a suggestion for 2 guests, and I know it's probably a little late for this year, but do you think next year we could get some of these fellers in there? From Matt?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So my go-to response every time someone pitches me someone is I say, "You never know who might show up in years to come."
That's a true statement too, because you never know. The thing with getting these big guests and getting all of these guests that you get is is that Lou Ferrigno calling?
No, it's not. That would be funny.
Picking on your rib.
Well, what's funny is, I mean, it's got to be a spam because it says it's Tuscaloosa, but it says the area code 659.
Alan ain't looking. Look, Alan.
She wins one thing, and now she wants the world.
So, the thing about this, Amanda, is I saw an article, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, that Diamond has completely sold out of Tales of Nottingham. And
they have, yeah.
I think it's what Lunar had very, very limited copies left.
Yep, that's correct.
And this is definitely a massive pick of the week. This was a great read. If you're not reading everything and anything Nottingham, you've missed it out.
This is actually a really good time to jump over to our picks our comics of the week. If you got a second to hang out and talk comics, Jeremy.
Actually, Jeremy, what comics are you into? What are you currently reading?
I ain't got time to read. I never learned to read. No, I mean, yeah, I've got a pile of, I get out to Haven every, couple Saturdays and clear out my box and everything. I've got Venom in there. I've got anything Godzilla that comes through the store. Josh knows to put it in my box.
Yep, automatically.
But honestly, I haven't been reading much right now. Other than I read, I don't remember what one shot, but a lot of the Godzilla stuff is just like one shot, like best of Mothra, best of or whatever, so those are always fun to read. Something that I can do a whole thing in one sitting and not have to, wait. So
that's totally legit.
So, since I already showed this one, we'll definitely go ahead and talk about Tales of Nottingham right quick. This is a great one-shot. I mean, when I say a one-shot, there's going to be more Tales of Nottingham, but this particular story...
It's a self-contained story.
Yeah, it's a self-contained story. Really good, fantastic art. It actually helps give more depth to a character that's in the ongoing series. I cannot. If you can get your hands on a copy of this, I highly suggest reading it. Another thing about this book is in the back 2 or 3 pages, and I was trying to look it up right quick. It's either The Last Exorcists or Exorcists Never Die or something like that. I'll have to look it up, that is going to be a book that's coming out by Mad Cave soon. I think it said March or April. And that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun because when they went to fight, they kind of ripped off their cloaks and they were dressed as Knights Templar in modern day times. So I'll look up the name of that one here in just a second and clarify on that. So Action Comics 1051.
That's a great cover.
That's fun.
The cover is very fun. The main story is decent, but the reason why I really enjoyed this book was the secondary story by Dan Jurgens in the back of it. This is one of the few times where I felt like the secondary story of a book should have been the primary story of the book. I mean, this book is worth grabbing just for Dan Jurgens' story in the back of it. Josh talked about these next two last week, and I really, really, really want to know more about the female Moon Knight.
How awesome was that?
I was not expecting a female Moon Knight from the 60s, 70s era. I thought that was great.
And you actually got original recipe Blade in the brown leather jacket with the afro and the green goggles, the whole bit. That was an awesome story.
Marvel definitely has their issues with some of their bigger titles, like X-Men and Spider-Man and things, but Moon Knight is a title that's flying under the radar as far as Marvel's concerned and has been a great read. So, I mean, just about every month that this comes out, it's going to be a top pick. The last new book before we do the throwback book, y'all should have known it was going to be Birch's book.
Yeah, Birch book.
It's the Birch book. Birch had made a comment when he was on the show last week about the book feeling creepy. So you can read some books and you get like a Twilight Zone vibe or like a certain vibe from a movie that you've seen. To me, this really come across like the old Tales from the Dark Side TV show. That's kind of the way it felt. This was definitely a fun book. I mean, I enjoyed it as far as kind of building on the horror and the suspense. I can't wait to see where this story goes. And then my throwback pick of the week, The Demon, #1.
Oh, nice.
And the only reason why this is my throwback pick of the week is because Jack Kirby. What other reason do you need?
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it's literally, I was flipping through one of the boxes at the house, and I was like, oh, Jack Kirby. That's my throwback pick of the week, and pulled it right out and brought it on up.
All right, so I got a couple books from this week. I'm gonna change out who's in big in here. Batman #132. Y'all, we have been talking about Batman since Chip Zdarsky took over the title. And wow! This one is insane. This is Batman is in another dimension where there is no Batman. So it's kind of like a It's a Wonderful Life, the Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life. He's getting to see what a world without Batman looks like, and it ain't good. And then it's Tim Drake is the only one who can rescue him and can get to him and say, "Wait, I need to pull you back to the reality, this reality." But this is the first appearance of a whole lot of villains and other characters in this other universe. Now, whether those characters come across to the regular universe, I don't know. This may be the only time they ever show up, but this was a really fun book, and I strongly recommend it. We've also been talking this one up for a long time because this has been spectacular. Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duo. It's by Mark Silvestri. He's writing it and drawing it and inking it. It's beautiful to look at, and the story has been really good. This one has got something happens in here where it's one of those classic kind of villain things of you must decide, you're on this timeline, there's nothing you can do about it. It kind of has a little bit of an element of the movie Speed, like, you're stuck. You can't stop this train. It's going, and you can't do a thing about it. And you have to do X in order to avoid disaster, right? You gotta avoid disaster. However you get there, I don't care. And so Batman is like, all these ideas. Here's what we need to do. And Joker's like, I have some ideas too. And of course, they're horrible ideas. And what it really takes is, at the end, is a little bit of both is what was required. And so you're like, man, that has to really chap hard. But it was really, really good. And this is issue number 4. It's a 7-issue limited series. And apparently issue number 5 has some humongous reveal in it. Mark Silvestri has been really promoting that. This book here was a surprisingly fun read. Wasp number 1. This is the original Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, and the new Wasp, Nadia. Both in the same book. That's a fun one. Alan was 100% right last week or the week before when he said that this book was fantastic. This is excellent. The new Darkwing Duck number 1 is great. Strongly recommend. The nostalgia hit factor is very high, but it's also fun if you've never read Darkwing Duck before.
And you got excited when you saw Megavolt, and you still
I did. It was stupid. I don't know why I got excited about it, but I did. And then my throwback book this week, anybody who knows my story knows my first comic I ever read was X-Men 133, Wolverine Alone Against the Hellfire Club. I went on a nostalgia kick, and so this is 134. The next issue.
Nice.
Y'all, I got to tell you, I'm really sad Chris Claremont is had to cancel because the writing in this is superb. Absolutely spectacular, the writing in this book. Strongly recommend it. If you've not read the Dark Phoenix saga, you should put that on your list and go back and do it. But that's my comic corner for the week.
I didn't prepare. I'm sorry. I have nothing prepared.
Well, you didn't know that it was coming.
Well, you've also been you've been showing off comics all night, so
That's true.
That's true. That's true. You blow everything away with that freaking original art from the. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. No, not even.
Those aren't mine anymore. So
now, Jeremy, I know we're closing in a couple hours, but now is literally the most important question of the night.
Uh-oh.
This is the question that, this is where we really and truly deep dive, and this is where I earn my right.
This is going to reveal a lot about you as a person, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, simple, yes or no. Is Miss Piggy a femme fatale?
No.
Well, that's all the time we have for the night.
I mean, I feel like that, question needs an explanation. And then, but on the surface level, no, not in my opinion.
Okay, everybody's got their right to have an opinion, and that opinion be wrong, but okay.
I'm willing to listen to an argument. Well, I would think that.
Tom Price up at the store, if you don't tune in to his, he does a show every week on Haven and on YouTube and Facebook and all that, where he draws something live. It's kind of a drink and draw sort of thing. And it's awesome. He does a phenomenal job. His art style is spectacular. His sketchbooks are available at Haven too, by the way. But on his show, he's doing this whole femme fatale theme for the month of February. And so he's doing different femme fatales. He drew the Baroness the other day.
Yes.
He drew Star Sapphire. He drew the character from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He's got this long list of characters that he's drawn. So Alan asked him, why isn't Miss Piggy on this list? And there's this big argument about whether Miss Piggy could be considered a femme fatale.
So I just, for giggles and googles, I Googled, what is a femme fatale? And the definition from the dictionary says, this is from Oxford, mind you, an attractive and seductive woman, especially one who is likely to cause distress or disaster to a man who becomes involved with her. The second half of that, yeah, she's kind of a head case. But the first half, only if it refers to bacon.
Bacon is beautiful. I think we can all agree on that.
Bacon is gorgeous.
But that's the after product, you know.
And the saltier, the better.
I don't.
Miss Piggy is salty as hell.
But attractive and seductive, I do not think so.
Well, not for lack of trying.
You may need to seek counseling. Yes, no.
She tries really hard.
Well, my child's still here, so I can't say what I really want to say. But no, she's a bit aggressive and psychotic and neurotic. But there's other words. But again, this is a kid's show. But no, short answer, no. Mm-mm. The would she cause distress? The people she becomes involved with, yes. But that's just, yeah.
Everybody's got that side, Tots. Everybody's got that side.
Is it the snout? Is it the hoof foot? Is it, what is it there?
I really can't say. Like you said, your kid's right there, and it's still a kid's show.
Is it the blonde on a pig? Because that's not normal.
That's probably
the anamorph kind of thing.
One word. Thick.
I mean,
that thick center cut bacon, that is the best kind.
I mean, I like
you said
model. What can I say?
Fiona from Shrek. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Yes, Biggie, no.
Well, all right.
Well, that wraps up everything that in one neat little package there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I have to respect it. He looked up the textbook definition. He presented a valid argument. I don't agree with the argument, but I will still accept the answer.
And that's all we can do. That's the best there is. So, one last thing to wrap everything up. If y'all haven't yet gotten your tickets for the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, you can do it right up to the day of. You can get them at the gate. I strongly recommend getting them before that, because you do not want to spend the time you could be inside the expo waiting in line to get into the expo. That's just silly.
Now, we at the show, we will have the ticket window open before the show opens to try to control that some. Or to stave that off, but
I've seen how long that line is.
It gets bonkers, but the best thing to do is to go on the website now, purchase tickets. The best thing to do if you're local is to go out to Haven and pick up some of these picks of the week. Find the Miss Piggy book, but then you get your tickets there, because on the website, unfortunately, there are fees, but at Haven, there are no fees. So you don't pay anything extra, but grab some comics while you're there. Instead of paying fees, you can pay that money and buy some comics.
It's true. You can always get the comics. One thing we do not have at Haven, and I want this to be clear for everybody, we do not have the VIP passes at Haven. You can only get those online.
You can only get those for a very limited time because they are about to sell out. So if you want to be a VIP, act now.
And I will tell you, if you want to get in line for even one of the big name guests, if you want a signature or a picture with even one of the big name guests, it will be well worth your time to get that VIP pass. And that's if you just want one. If you want two or three, if you want both Ashley Eckstein and William Shatner, you're going to want that VIP pass. It makes a world of difference.
Yeah. And again, the VIP line for the guests, it doesn't act as instant access. Think of it as a fast pass at Disney. It's a shorter wait.
It's a shorter line with a priority. So, yeah. It's a shorter wait by a long shot. I can tell you my horror story of not having a VIP pass last year and standing in line for Kevin Eastman while Justin Lynch with his VIP pass went through the line twice in front of me. And the second time was just to show Kevin Eastman something on his phone that Justin thought was funny.
Look what I did.
I could have strangled him with his own intestines at that point. But that was his fault. It was my fault for not having a VIP pass. It was his fault for being a jerk, but it was my fault for not having a VIP pass. Get your VIP pass if you want to go like quickest access to get through.
For sure.
But come to the expo. There is zero chance you will regret coming to that show. It has got something for everybody.
Everyone.
If you want to do nothing but lock yourself into a room with a whole bunch of people and play RPGs all day, play Dungeons and Dragons and board games, you can do that and not even know that the rest of the show is there.
In fact, the gaming goes on well after the show ends on Friday and Saturday night. Gaming goes on until almost midnight, where the show ends at 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So lots of fun. Or go to the show. Once the show ends, go over to the game room, find a new game. They have demo games. They've got, all kinds of stuff, every skill level.
Yeah, and there will be people introducing and demoing new games as well as running games with pre-generated characters. You can bring your own characters. If you want to run a game, I'm sure they're still looking for GMs. So remember that. Be on the lookout for that. And volunteer, as Mike said, please volunteer for the show. If you say, man, I can't really afford to pick up a VIP pass, I wish I could go. You can still go. Volunteer. It's a great
volunteers have plenty of time to still enjoy the show. It's not just working 24/7. That's my role. There's downtime. And there's stuff to do.
Go and enjoy the show as a guest.
Right. And there's stuff to do before and after the show, too. It's not just the thick of it. So.
And you get to enjoy the snack room.
Snack room.
So, yeah, get out to the show. It's going to be awesome. We are super pumped. Jeremy, thanks for coming on tonight and sharing a little bit of news with us and walking us through some things because that is awesome. And I'm very excited.
Excited to be here.
So cool. And anything you want to say as we head out for the evening here, Alan?
Read more comics and go get your tickets for the Pop Culture Expo.
Sounds good.